Hi guys, my name is Ashish. I'm working as the Director of Sales and Business Development for SocialPeta. I want to thank you all the attendees joining us today, as well as the panelists and our moderators, and a special thanks to HSC to to provide us this platform to discuss about our presentation. Today, what we're going to discuss is the data-driven strategy, growing your game to success. Now, a quick word about SocialPeta. SocialPeta covers ad data from nearly 70 countries in different 70 regions, over 70 well-known ad platforms worldwide, such as Unity, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok. And we provide nearly 1.2 billion ad creatives, updating millions each day. And moving on to the first slide, what we are going to discuss is the Q3 2022 Global Mobile Game Marketing Insights Overview. Now, a quick understanding like what really happened in the Q3. Now, from January to July, we saw a significant increase in creatives. However, August saw a dramatic decline in creatives. Now, active creatives had surged since January to reach over 8 million creatives in July only. However, we saw a decrease of 20% in the month of August specifically. As you can see that the global mobile game advertisers in Q3 were about 36,000 and the global mobile game creators in Q3 were about 12.6 million. Moving on to the downloads of global mobile game apps in the past year. So compared to 2021, what we noticed that the mobile game industry was on a downtrend, specifically this year. However, the key things to notice is that download increased by over 100 million, specifically in Q3 2022. And that's a year-over-year growth of 6% and a quarter-over-quarter growth of 2%. Now that indicates a steady growth of the mobile game market. Moving on to the IIP, what we really notice is that it started to recover from Q2, but still less than the same quarter last year. What we really saw is that mobile game revenue rose sharply by over 80 million in Q3 22. It was the highest growth since the revenue decline in the end of 2021. And by the end of this year, we reckon that the mobile game revenue is expected to exceed that in the same period of last year. Now, the insights, what we really saw is the percentage of casual game advertisers. Two things to really notice over here. Now, the casual game advertisers accounted for over 23%, just about 1.5% from the same period from last year. RPG on the other end, was down 1.85% from last year. And in the side of creatives, what we saw that the puzzle game creatives accounted for 14%, which is about 1.53% from last year. And the action game creatives saw the largest drop of creatives among all game genre. So we can understand where the market is shifting. Casual seems to have been capturing a lot of game advertisers' attentions. On the other hand, the puzzle game creatives are increasing as well from the last year. Moving on to the second slide, understanding the data analysis of game genres. Now in Q3, mobile games had monthly advertisers of about 23,000, and the monthly creatives per advertisers were about 288. Casual games, as discussed earlier, had the highest number of monthly advertisers in Q3. That's nearly 80% higher than the puzzle game. So from the number one spot to the number two spot, you can see the difference between them is about 80%. Casual versus puzzle. And then in the strategy games, in the creative size per advertiser, what we saw is that strategy games were still on the top game genre by average advertising, followed by casino games and RPGs. So the monthly advertisers for casual increased, as well as for the monthly creatives per advertiser for strategy also increased. Now the revenue that we all would like to know, and revenue is the most important part. Now what we really saw the trend in the Q3 for marketing specifically that the revenue of the most game genres were flattening out. the adventure and the card games maintained a fast revenue growth of about 8%, which is, quarter over quarter in Q3 2022. But the two game genres did not generate very high total revenue, and the two genres combined accounted for only 13%. However, on the other hand, what we saw is the RPGs, simulation, and casual games tend to have a very steady revenue with a growth of less than 5%. So you can quickly understand from the chart. And moving on to the next slide. So game genres with low market shares were expected to have faster user growth. Game genres with high market shares, such as action and casual games, started to stabilize, while game genres with low market shares were expected to have a faster user growth and occupy market share. But games with low market shares often had a relatively small user base and less target audience, so developers need to know how to quickly acquire user from the limited audience. As you can see, low market share for adventure and card game. Then the action and casual games with the high market share and steady growth. All game genres had a good growth. However, the top game genres, including casual, action, arcade, simulation, and puzzle games, had relatively fast DAU, the daily active users, growths, despite of large user base. But the growths were mostly contributed by old games that were released at least 1 year ago. And amongst the newly released games in 2022, like Save the Dog, Fill the Fridge, and Legends Mobile recorded higher growths and deserved more attention. So you can see the DAU trends of the mobile games by game genre. Moving on. Now we also need to understand the download trends of mobile games, of course, by the game genre. So what we saw is that puzzle and arcade games with medium market share, steady growth, increased significantly in downloads. So the downloads of action, casual, and simulation games together accounted for about 40% and the total downloads of all mobile games. But those game genres have a relatively fixed market, which is hard for new games to enter. Okay. In terms of IP, most game genres are stable, except a few genres had a sharp ups and downs. In an overall comparison, RPG were still the highest grossing, record over $1.7 billion in IP, to account for over 25% of all IP, more than twice as the IP strategy games, which ranked number two. All right, so moving on to the third slide, game marketing insights into different regions. Now, a quick overview, understanding the proportions of mobile game downloads in different regions. You can see North America and South America in the number of downloads as is dropping, as well as Europe and Oceania and SAA markets. Japan and South Korea also saw a good growth, as well as the South Asia market, nearly 70%. Now, the IP revenue for these mobile games in different regions. As we can see, North America seems to have been topping up, followed by different regions, specifically Europe. The Middle East also saw some good revenue, as well as the Japan and South Korea. All right. So just give me 1 second here. Okay. So North America had the highest proportion of new creatives in Q3. Middle East only accounted for about 37%. So proportions of the new creatives in Q3 only, South America, Japan, and South Korea, and the Middle East were less than 40%, with the lowest proportion in the Middle East, which is about 37.7%. So we can really see North America being the really topping the chart over here. All right. Now, to understand the mobile game advertiser trends in different regions, which is also a key things to understand. So advertiser in all popular regions showed growth in Q3, which Oceania achieving the largest increase. And specifically for Q3, advertisers from all over the world were on different growth momentum, among which Oceania and North America increased by over 35% year over year. NA has the most mobile game advertisers for over 25,000, in Q3, which is about 47% higher than the euro, which is on the second place. Now, the downward trends of global mobile game. Mobile traffic boosts rapidly in Q3, which is really catching up with the NA as well, I would say. And SEA has the second highest mobile game downloads next to North America. It was the fastest growing market in Q3 with a year-over-year growth of 11%. So some key things to really notice over here. NA as well as SEA is going neck to neck in terms of downloads. Now the DAUs, if we discuss the trend chart of global mobile game DAUs as per the regions. On top of it, fast DAU growth in Q2, 10% quarter over quarter. NA market achieved a 13% DAU growth as year over year in Q3. And NA is the fastest recovering market of mobile game this year. Compared the same period last year, SE in Japan, South Korea achieved the highest growth, realizing a 16% and 15% growth in Q3 respectively. Now, the success of creative analysis. So what we did, we put together some case studies for you to understand some of the top games are creative. So this is one of the case study from Evony. The strategy game Evony has long remained one of the top 10 best-selling games in the App Store in America. The game topped the best-selling chart of strategy games in America in Q3 multiple times. The game's promotional video, Battle of Evony, was played in the 2017 Super Bowl. And as you can see quickly, the trend. So it has been there for almost 450 plus days with deduplicate creative on iOS for about 2.5 thousand. Now, understanding the insights, there were nearly 2,500 daily creatives on Android, which is 230% more than an iOS app market. Of course, the number of advertised Android users versus iOS plays a key role over here. The game mainly released creatives on Android with 2,481 daily creatives. The peak creatives on Android was in April to July, peaking at over 3,700 daily creatives. Now you can see the daily creatives quantity, on iOS versus Android. There's a huge difference there. Now the analysis of the strategy for this, on the Android device specifically. So Google Ads seems to be their main advertising platform. Nearly 20% of the 20% of creatives were released, and Audience Network had the most creatives amongst all every platforms, which was over 80% of the game's creatives. 93% of its creatives were video, about 4.8% higher than the average percentage of strategy games. So you can understand that why they're really topping the charts. And most of its creative were released in Americas. So that's 137% higher than in Japan, which was, ranked number 2. So huge shift over there, specifically for Evony. Now, one of the most popular creative in Q3. So it has been up there for almost 99 days. You can see the advertising platform posted on Google platforms, Google Ads. So the estimated impression came around 400,000 plus, and the popularity rating of 394. It shows you what really they did well. So they chose a local actor plus the pin pulling puzzles. Most infectious and funny. Sorry, that's really can't pronounce that particular word. Apologies for that. So analysis of popular creatives or strategies. Now, strategy games have the highest average number of creatives, which are more diverse and more funny. So you can see these three ad creatives with different approach. First, the different approach and options leading to win or fail, then combined with hyper casual to secure more diversified users, then inspired by PC games, the full display of its game display. Now, another popular RPG advertiser called Heroes of War. Now, it's a superhero idle card RPG. The game was released for Android in 2012, but it was released for iOS in China's Hong Kong, Macau, and Taiwan regions on 22 August this year. And it topped the free chart in Taiwan on 4th September. It is still among the top free games in Taiwan. Now, moving on to the insights of that particular creative. So creatives were increased over time and different product icons were adopted. The game mainly released in creatives on Android. Its daily creatives on Android were about 2.6 times as many as those on iOS. It's a massive advertising on both Android and iOS started on August 13th. With two peaks of creatives on 5th September and before China's National Day, the game had four versions of icons in Q3. Each icon changing meant to a change in advertising strategy. So you can see the daily creatives on iOS and the daily creatives on Android. So some key things to focus like the icon change and everything. It really pushed into the advertising strategy for Heroes of War. Now the analysis of the Android advertising specifically. So Meta platform were its main advertising platform where over 90% of its ads creative were released. Among those platforms creatives on the FB news feed accounted for the highest percentage. In terms of creative formats, 97% of the game's creative were video, and about 32% of their creatives were released on action game media. Uh, Sorry if we skipped something. Okay, yeah. So there's the different analysis of the creatives which were specifically launched in Q3, more diversified combinations of mini game and the game. So on from 16 August to 30th September, you can see different art creatives, traditional card RPG elements, fire cannons, doghead, and parking lot. Now, other minigame creatives for Heroes War as one of the top explorer in the minigame creatives has had many popular advertising creatives. So you could see the classic tower climbing, then moving on to adventure and merge, and big world exploration. Now the analysis of these model of these popular creatives. So there are multiple things to create over to cover over here. So the duration, which plays an important role. The longer duration means the advertiser continues using the creative to attract more users and also means the creative is more valuable. And the number of impression, as well as the popularity, the original display, the interaction indicator, the multi-dimensional removal of duplicates, and the daily updated database. So this is the model, as you can see, which covered about seven different key points, which really makes a popular creative a really attractive. And of course, it over time it increases the number of downloads as well as the revenue overall. Regardless of the Android or the iOS, we see these seven key points really focus on really how to push an app a creative to the end user. Now, as discussed earlier, SocialPeta, the world's leading advertising marketing platform. We have broad platform coverage from different countries, different coverage, different regions. The data size is quite large, as said, 1.2 billion ad creatives, and we cover about 1.5 million advertisers already. The rapid data updating and the in-depth intelligent recommendation and self-developed algorithm. These are some of the companies we are working with currently at this moment. 90% of the top companies have chosen to use social beta. So Google is there, OnePlus is there, 37 Games, Tencent Games, some of our clients currently, Yala Group and everything. You could follow us on LinkedIn by using this QR code. That's about it. Thank you so much. These are my contact details. My name is Ashish again. And thank you so much for paying attention. You have a good day. Bye.